Hey guys! So if you didn't know, I recently graduated from university and have started into my first real adult job. And one of the first things that we had to do on our first day was go around the room and introduce ourselves. And it's one of those things where, you say your name, you say what you studied, and then you have to do one interesting fact about yourself. And if you're like me, you realize that you're not that interesting and you never have an interesting fact about yourself to say. And considering this is something that I've done at least 3 or 4 times in my life and I never find a fact that's interesting enough to share with people, it's difficult. And I've already had to do that like twice since starting my new job, and it kind of gave me this idea for this video where I am going to share with you some facts that I think are kind of interesting about myself, in case you didn't know. I had to think about this for a while because I could barely think of like one interesting fact to tell all the people that I met the other day, never mind think of like several to actually share on YouTube. But I have a list of like 10 that I thought, might be a little bit interesting. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to share with you today. Now, before I actually start into this, I do want to let you guys know that if you have been subscribed to me on YouTube for the past few years or whatever, you probably already know all of these things about me, and the reason being is because when I was writing all these down, I realized that I've talked about these before on YouTube, or I've actually vlogged to them. So like all of these things on this list you might already know about me, but yeah, I'm gonna share them with you guys anyway. And also, if you're new here, I guess this is a great way to learn a little bit more about me and what I do on my channel. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So the first thing that I want to share is something that I probably wouldn't tell people that I've just met for the first time, and that is that I've been doing YouTube for about 6 years now. I think I started my channel in 2013. The first video that I ever posted was an Animal Crossing Let's Play part, because I did start this channel making Let's Plays. If you guys didn't know, they were not the best. I only had two. I had an Animal Crossing GameCube one and a Sims 3 Let's Play, and that's just what I felt comfortable with at the time. I felt really awkward with the idea of like sitting in front of a camera and talking, but that did come later, hence where we are today. So yeah, I've been doing YouTube for like 6 years now, and I don't tend to bring that up with people that I just met, because then they'll, want to look up my channel and I feel like really embarrassed by it. Like I feel really cringy sitting there watching someone watch my videos. Like it's fine if you want to do that in your own time, but to like actually sit there in front of me and like look it up, it's very cringy. So I do tend to keep that point to myself. The second thing that I want to share is that I have been taking pole classes for 1.5 years now. If you guys follow me on social media, then you already know this, but yeah, so I think it was like at the start of last year, me and my friend Victoria decided to sign up for pole dancing classes, mainly just because like we've never done it before and we always wanted to know what it was about. And we went to one class, we fell in love, and so I've been going ever since, and it's been going really well. I've been making a lot of progress since I first started, and yeah, it's been really fun. And that was the fact that I actually shared with everyone the other day. I thought it was a bit different from everyone else's, because normally when people share interesting facts, they're always like, oh, I play sports, or I have a pet or something. And I don't actually play any sport, and I don't really, have any pets. So my thing was that I did pole, which, is a form of exercise, but it's a little bit different than, playing hockey or something conventional like that. So, yeah. Moving on to the next fact, this is something I've vlogged on my channel, and that is that in 2016, me and my friend Jasmine flew to New York for a KCON convention. And I think that the reason why this is so interesting is because it was the first time that I'd ever left the country, which is a big deal, leaving the country for the first time, being on a plane for the first time. Normally when people like leave the country or go on a plane for the first time, it's normally like a domestic flight that's only like 2 or 3 hours. But for me, my first flight was a 4-hour flight to Switzerland and then an 8-hour flight to New York. So yeah, basically just, blew it out of the water there on my first try, just going all out with it. And not only that, but on top of this being like the first time I've been out of the country, the first time I've been on a plane, New York was also the first concert I'd ever actually been to. KCON was my first concert, so that is a big deal for me. That was a lot of firsts in one go, and obviously it was amazing and super exciting and something different, because I feel like, when people say they go to New York, they go to New York for New York, but we actually just went for a KCON convention. So yeah, if you guys want to see those vlogs, then I'll leave them linked below, because I had so much fun on that trip and I was really excited that I got to vlog it, because now I can like look back on that and relive all the moments that we had. It was a really great time. And then to go along with that, my fourth fact is that I recently flew to Manchester last minute to go to a Blackpink concert. Again, something that is kind of interesting and a little bit different than other things that people have done. Me and my brother randomly decided, hey, let's go to Manchester for Blackpink, and that was actually the most recent vlog that I think I posted on my channel. So if you guys want to know what 24 hours in Manchester was like, then you can check that out as well. So yeah, basically the gist of this is that I really like K-pop, and I will travel anywhere in the world if necessary for it, although it would be a lot nicer if I didn't have to travel so far for it. But a lot of K-pop groups have actually been coming to the UK recently, which means it's a lot easier to get to them, and yeah. FYI, the next band that I do plan to see and really want to see is Day 6. They're coming to London in January, and so I'm on the lookout for getting tickets to that, and yeah, catch me at Day 6, guys. Okay, so moving away from that, one of the other facts that I shared with people, because for some reason we had to like introduce ourselves twice in the past few weeks, but like we had to do it again, and so I had to share a different fact about myself. And the icebreaker topic was kind of like the most famous person that you've met, so I thought I'd share this with you guys too. The most famous person that I've actually ever met is Jamie Dornan. I met him last year when I was in London with my boyfriend. We were going to see Hamilton, and it was so weird because literally the night before we went, we were in our hotel room and we were watching the Graham Norton show, and Jamie Dornan was a guest star on the show. So like we watched him on TV. Then the next night we show up to the theater to go see Hamilton, and he's right there. He like walks in with his wife, and I was over here in the corner like to my boyfriend, that's Jamie Dornan. He just like walked in the room, and it was kind of surreal, to be honest, because like, it was one of those things where he walked in and I recognized him instantly because, I'm a fangirl, so I'd be like, oh my god, he's right there. And my boyfriend was like, are you really sure that's him? And I was like, yeah, that's him. And I did actually end up approaching him. I felt really awkward about it because, like I said, he was with his wife, and I didn't really want to disturb him, and no one else was like really going up to him or anything. Like everyone was playing it totally cool. People definitely were giving him like second glances and stuff like that, but like mostly people were leaving him alone, and I didn't really like want to approach him and disturb him. But I worked up the courage to just go say hi before the show started. We got a photo, he was really nice, and then me and my boyfriend went to take our seats, and 5 minutes later he's coming down the aisle with his wife. He was sitting at the end of our row. So yeah, I sat through the whole show. He was like 2 seats down from me. It was kind of crazy, but luckily I was able to still pay attention to the show, and the show was amazing. And so yeah, the most famous person that I've ever met is Jamie Dornan, and that was kind of crazy. And also I did do a story time video of when I was in London, and I do mention that, so again, you guys can check that out in the description below. Then moving on to some more people that I've met who are not as famous as him. I go to a lot of drag queen shows. I'm really obsessed with the TV show RuPaul's Drag Race. Again, this is not news if you know me. Like, it's very obvious. Like, hey, I really love RuPaul's Drag Race. So I go to a lot of drag queen shows, and I meet a lot of the drag queens from RuPaul's Drag Race because I pay for those meet and greets. So I don't know how many queens I've actually met to date, but it's been a lot of them, and that is where most of my money goes these days. But the shows are really amazing. I always enjoy meeting the queens, and it's just kind of like a fun experience, and something I feel like a lot of people that I work with have probably never done. So I think that it is kind of interesting. Although, if you are in this kind of community where you do go to the drag shows, because a lot of people that go to them are always like the same group of people, if you told them that, that's not really news. But like to other people who aren't really into drag queens, don't really know what RuPaul's Drag Race is, I feel like that's kind of interesting to know. Or it's kind of weird, whatever way you want to look at it. But yeah. Okay, so the next fact that I have actually is related to my last fact where I talk about meeting drag queens. The first drag queen show that I ever went to and the first drag queen that I ever saw was Bianca Del Rio. And I did, again, I put this on my YouTube channel so you guys can check out the video, but me and my friends went to see Bianca Del Rio. The first season of Drag Race that I ever watched was season 6, and Bianca Del Rio was the winner. So we were obsessed with her, and we found out she was coming to town, and we were like, oh my god, we have to go see her. We went to the show, and it was my first show ever, so I didn't really know what to expect. Then Bianca was doing this like lip sync for your life competition, and I actually got pulled up on stage to lip sync for my life in front of Bianca Del Rio at my first ever drag show. And that was so crazy to me, like even thinking back to it now, because at the time I was pretty shy. I mean, I think I'm still pretty shy, but I'm more confident than I was back then. So to be pulled up on stage in the middle of a club that you've never been to before in front of all these randomers and you're just asked to like lip sync for your life, it's kind of terrifying. And so when I went up there, I had no idea what I was going to do. I had no idea what to expect, but you know what? I did go for it. I kind of just went for it. I lived my best life on stage, lip syncing, dancing just to see that walk, and it was amazing. And I feel like that's not something that everyone can say about themselves. So there you go. Whenever I went to my first drag queen show, I was pulled up on stage and I lip synced for my life. And yeah, it actually ended up happening again a couple of years later at Pride. So Bianca Del Rio came back to town for Pride a couple of years ago, and she was with Charlie Hides. And me and my friends went again, and Bianca did her same like lip sync competition, and guess who was pulled up on stage for the second time singing the same song? Yes, that's right, it was me, your girl, and I basically did the same thing as I did last time because it was like the same song, and I'm not the best dancer in the world, so you know, it was basically the same performance. Although how many people remembered me from before, I have no idea. But yeah, so that's happened twice, and I don't know if it'll ever happen again, but I'm always up for it because there are some drag shows that I go to where they do pull people up on stage. More so recently, I have been kind of hesitant to like go up on stage because I'm not really sure what's going to happen, because sometimes they like play games, other times they lip sync, they do like lots of other random things. And I think it's really fun if you're involved in the show like that, because you know you pay to be there, and I think it's like an even more special experience if you get up on stage and things like that. So it is kind of fun. I have been hanging back the last couple of times I've been at shows, but maybe the next time I'll be up there again, who knows. But yeah, so those are my drag queen facts. Okay, moving on, we have 3 facts left. They are, I feel like, not as exciting as the other ones that I've shared, but I'm going to share them anyway. Okay, so number 8. I know I haven't really been counting in this video, but we're on the 8th fact, which means we're almost at the end. So number 8 is that I've actually moved house like 6 times in my life. So 3 of them were for uni, which you guys know about because I've talked about them on my channel. So 3 of them were for uni, which I guess don't really count because I'm not moving, like properly moving. This is like a temporary situation. But then the 3 other times were when I was younger and I was with my family. So that was like big moves to move house. And I think this is an interesting fact just because I feel like lots of people don't really move house that often. Like when you're with your family and you're living in your family house growing up, I feel like people don't really move in those situations. They like stay in the same house forever. But for me, I moved. So when I was really little, when I was like 5 or 6, we had to move house because the house next to ours got set on fire and our house got smoke damage. It was very dramatic, but so we had to move then. And then the second time we moved was because our house was too small. And then we moved again because, again, the house we moved into was too small. So now we live in our I guess, like final house, which is like big enough for everyone and everyone's got their own room and it's great. So those were like the big times that I had to move. We did move within the same town. It's not like I had to like move town or anything like that. It was all within the same town, but it was still a big deal to like have to uproot your life like that and like move away from your friends and stuff every time. I have moved since then 3 different times for uni. And I'm actually about to move again because my lease is up at the end of August. Hey, so have to find somewhere to live again. But yeah, so I've moved a few times for uni, as you guys know. I've had to move for different reasons for uni, just like moving closer to where I was on placement when I was in third year of uni, and then moving back to the uni area. So I have done a lot of moving in my life, and I am so excited to finally move for hopefully the last time in a long time. Like, I'm ready as soon as I like move into my next place to be there for a while, because I'm so sick of moving and I just want all my stuff in one place and just to feel like a little bit settled. It would be really great. So hopefully when I move for the next time, I'll be there for a while. So yeah. The next fact that I have is something, again, you guys already know about me, but it's that I have 2 tattoos. Obviously, this one on my arm you guys see all the time. It says XOXO. I got this last year and it doesn't really mean anything, though every time I see something like XOXO, it always makes me think of Gossip Girl, and I did really love the show Gossip Girl, so I have that. And then the second tattoo that I have, which you guys don't really see because it's on my ankle, is the present and balloon from the game Animal Crossing, because if you guys didn't know this, I'm obsessed with Animal Crossing, and I really wanted my first tattoo to be like fandom related, but I didn't know what fandom I wanted it to be. Because originally, when I thought that I was going to get a tattoo, I always thought my first tattoo would be Twilight related, but that didn't actually end up happening. It actually ended up being Animal Crossing related, and I really love it. And so yeah. Also, I have been planning my third tattoo for like the longest time. I really want to get a Sims Plum Bob tattoo, and the reason being is because also I love Sims, but I don't want it to be like your classic green plum bob. I actually want it to be like just the outline of it, and I want to have it like here on my wrist, if that shows, like just here, because I think it'd be really cool. So I've been planning that for ages. Don't know when I'm actually going to get it, but just so you guys know, that's the next tattoo I plan to have. And finally, moving on to the last fact about me, which was really hard to think of, to be honest, because I'd like gotten to like my 9 facts and I was trying to think of a last one and nothing was coming to me, like nothing like really interesting or out there was like really coming to me, but like this is the one that I decided to go with. Something that I always hesitate to kind of tell people because I don't really know how they'll feel about it. But when I was younger, and even now, like I really like to write stories, and I think I've always been that way. Like I like to write stories about things. I haven't really written anything new in the past few years, but you know, definitely when I was in secondary school and stuff, I really loved to write stories. And the main type of stories that I used to write were Twilight fanfiction stories. Yep, I'm putting it out there. I mean, I feel like I may have told you guys before, but I used to write Twilight fanfiction. I used to be that girl. But I do want to say that my fanfiction was never like smut. It was never like, you know, raunchy or anything like that. Like I wrote comedy stories and I really enjoyed it. And I did actually have like a quite a big following at the time, because this was like 2010, 2011, you know, like around when Twilight was really hyped up to be a big thing, and it was still, you know, the movies were still coming out and stuff like that. So I did used to write Twilight fanfiction. I really enjoyed it. I do wish that I could get back into writing again because it used to be so much fun and I used to do it all the time, but I haven't really been inspired lately, so yeah. I'm not going to tell you guys my username or anything like that. Y'all are going to have to like figure that out on your own if you want to like find out my stories. But yeah, I'm just putting it out there that I used to write fan fiction. Oh, and also, side note, something to go along with that is that the first kind of like fan fiction story that I ever wrote was actually like Totally Spies fan fiction. Like me and my 2 friends from primary school, like we used to write this story about how we were totally spies and we were gonna like save Zac Efron from some bad guys. don't really know what the story was beyond that. Like, I don't know why we were trying to protect Zac Efron, but the point was we were. And I like to think that that's still kind of relevant now because everyone still loves Zac Efron because he's amazing and still doing movies and is very attractive. So, I mean, if I was going to write a story now, I think I could still write that same Totally Spies story with Zac Efron and it will still be relevant today. Um, Sadly, though, I do not have a copy of that story and I don't really know what happened in it. But I can only say that it was probably as good as you would expect 12-year-old writing to be. I don't really know. But yeah. So I guess those were all my facts. Like I said, if you guys have been following me on social media or YouTube for a while, then you probably already know all those things about me because I've already talked about them here. But if you are new here, then hello, my name is Courtney. I make YouTube videos sometimes, and I don't really know what I make YouTube videos about. They're mostly like vlogs. Sometimes I talk about TV shows and things like that, but mostly it's just me being me, I guess, and making videos about whatever I want to make videos about. Um, and so yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. And let me know in the comments below if there are any interesting facts about you that you want to share. I know that when you're introducing yourselves to new people for the first time and you're asked to share an interesting fact about yourself, it's a little bit daunting, especially because that is the first impression that these people will have of you. So whatever you say is your fact kind of defines who you are to them. So it is a bit daunting, especially because you don't want to like reveal super weird stuff about yourself when you first meet them. But yeah, if you leave a comment below with something interesting, then I promise this is a non-judgmental space. You can share whatever you want. Even if you think it's a little bit weird, I will be interested to know. And yeah, like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.